There are many who believe that the devil, the great adversary, the dark whisperer of souls, approaches us with horns and claws. The world is full of those who expect his face to be as monstrous as the evil he serves. But let me tell you something, my dear listener. If the devil cannot approach you directly, if his great claws cannot sink into your soul, he will use another tool, one far more insidious, one far more subtle. He'll send you a narcissist. A narcissist, you see, is not merely a person full of themselves. Oh no, a narcissist is the perfect weapon, the devil's favorite puppet. The devil knows that a direct assault on your spirit may be too obvious, too crude, but the narcissist slithers into your life like a serpent, charming, flattering, and yet ultimately hollow. Their presence, like the devil's whisper, is insidious, working its way into the cracks of your very soul. They do not need to shout. They do not need to claw at your mind with the obvious fangs of hatred. No. They will deceive you with compliments. They will praise you, make you feel important, until they do not. Oh yes, when you become a pawn in their game, you will feel the cold shift, like the air in a room turning to ice, just as their words will. They will pull you in, make you believe you are the center of their world, and then, when you are hooked, when they have filled your veins with the poison of dependence and self-doubt, they will tear it all away. What does this narcissist serve, you may ask? Not themselves, no. They serve a darker force, a shadow far older than they are. The devil's greatest weapon is not in the outright evil, but in the twisted denial of your true self. And what does the devil seek to accomplish through them? A simple thing, really. Your destruction. Not by blood, not by fire, but by the quiet destruction of your spirit. He does not seek to burn you with anger or rage. He seeks to burn you with doubt. Doubt in your worth, in your abilities, in your very existence. These narcissists are mirrors, reflecting back only what they want you to see. Their world is a distorted one, designed to trap you in a cycle of dependency. They will make you feel weak, inferior, and small. They will twist the truth and spin your reality into a labyrinth where you cannot escape. And the whole time, you will think that you are the one to blame. You will think that you are the cause of the chaos, the pain, and the confusion. What is the answer? How does one fight back against such an enemy? How does one resist when they no longer know where the true self begins and the shadow of the narcissist ends? The answer, though hard, is simple. You must reclaim yourself. You must become aware of the game. The first step is seeing the narcissist for what they truly are, an instrument, a vessel of darkness sent to pull you into the abyss. There is power in the truth, and the truth is this: you are not their puppet. You are not their tool. You are you. And that, dear soul, is a weapon far stronger than any illusion they could ever cast upon you. But the war is not won in a moment. You will feel the darkness encroach, the whispering shadows telling you that you are nothing without them, that you cannot live without their approval. They will drag you back again and again, seeking to make you believe that your worth is bound up in their fickle gaze. But here is where you fight back. You fight back by understanding who you are. You fight back by surrounding yourself with light, with truth, and with people who do not seek to consume your spirit. And when you confront the narcissist, you must do so with the quiet strength of one who knows the truth, They are nothing. They are empty, hollow shells. In the end, it is not the devil you must fear. It is not even the narcissist. What you must fear, what you must fight with every ounce of your soul, is the loss of yourself. Do not let them steal what is yours. Do not let the devil, through these agents of destruction, drag you into a pit of self-loathing and doubt. Stand firm. The fight is long and the road is treacherous. But remember, the devil cannot destroy you unless you let him. And you, dear listener, are stronger than you know. You fight back by remembering who you are. And that, perhaps, is the greatest battle of all. Narcissists are experts in the art of subtle manipulation, and their control tactics often go unnoticed until they have already taken hold. Unlike more overt forms of manipulation, such as threats or direct aggression, narcissists prefer to operate in the shadows, using psychological tactics that leave their victims confused and uncertain. Their method is insidious because it capitalizes on one of the most basic human desires, the need for approval and validation. At the outset of the relationship, the narcissist showers their target with flattery, praise, and admiration. You are made to feel as though you are unique, special, and worthy of all their attention. This affection feels genuine, and for a time, it creates a sense of deep connection. Narcissists are skilled at making you feel like the most important person in the world, as though everything they do is for you, and your worth is tied directly to their approval. The early stages are intoxicating, and you begin to believe that their praise is a reflection of your true value. However, this is where the manipulation begins to take shape. Once they have hooked you, once they have gained your emotional dependence, they begin to withdraw their approval. This withdrawal can take many forms: silence, criticism, emotional distancing, or even subtle insults disguised as jokes. The change is gradual, like the turning of a tide, and it leaves you feeling unsettled. At first you may wonder what happened, why the praise has stopped, or why the affection feels strained. You might even blame yourself, questioning your actions or your worth. But this is precisely the point. The narcissist creates confusion. The approval that once seemed so freely given now feels like a rare commodity, one that you must constantly earn. The emotional instability that follows becomes a cycle. You will find yourself trying harder, doing more, to gain back the approval that was once so easily given, only to have it taken away again. Each time the narcissist withdraws their affection, you feel the sting of rejection, and yet you are left desperately seeking their validation. This emotional push and pull leave you vulnerable, caught in a constant state of uncertainty. You start to depend on their praise, to measure your worth against their shifting moods. As the cycle continues, you become more entangled in their web, and they gain more control over your emotional state. Your self-esteem becomes tied to their fluctuating approval, making you increasingly dependent on their judgment. This instability not only erodes your sense of self-worth, but it also deepens the narcissist's hold over you, as you begin to lose sight of who you are outside of their validation. The narcissist's subtle manipulation and control are designed to create a dependence that is both invisible and powerful. They don't need to use force or intimidation. They simply need to keep you in a state of emotional instability, where you are always chasing after the next moment of approval. And in that instability, they hold all the power. When we think of evil, we often imagine it in dramatic terms. Monstrous beings with sharp claws, unrelenting power, and fiery rage. The devil, in popular imagination, is seen as a towering figure of terror, intent on destroying those who stand in his way. However, the true nature of evil is far more subtle, and when the devil cannot directly corrupt or harm someone, he resorts to a more insidious approach. He uses narcissists as instruments of destruction. These individuals, often unaware of their own role in the grand scheme of darkness, become the devil's perfect puppets, manipulating others with a quiet yet destructive force. Narcissists, by their nature, are adept at disguising their true intentions behind a mask of charm, confidence, and flattery. They enter a person's life like a breath of fresh air, seemingly full of admiration and praise. At first, their words lift you up, make you feel special, and offer you a glimpse of a connection that feels pure and rewarding. But this is not genuine care, it's a trap. The narcissist's primary goal is not to nurture, but to control, to weave a web of dependence that slowly suffocates the individual's autonomy. The devil, working through the narcissist, knows that a direct assault on someone's soul may be too obvious, too crude. Instead, he uses the narcissist to manipulate from within, gradually breaking down a person's sense of self. Narcissists are masters at creating confusion. They will shower their target with praise and attention, making them feel important. And then, just when that person becomes dependent on their validation, they pull away. They withdraw affection, change their behavior, or subtly undermine their target's self-worth. This back and forth leaves the victim in a constant state of emotional turmoil, caught between the fleeting highs of validation and the crushing lows of rejection. This emotional roller coaster creates a cycle of self-doubt, where the victim begins to question their worth, their decisions, and even their reality. The narcissist works to isolate them from others, making them feel that only the narcissist holds the key to their happiness. In doing so, the narcissist, unknowingly or knowingly, becomes a vessel of darkness, fulfilling the devil's quiet, corrosive mission to destroy the person's sense of self. It's a clever and insidious form of manipulation, one that strips away confidence, instills fear, and creates an unhealthy dependence. And in the end, the narcissist may not even realize they are playing this role. They themselves are merely acting out the devil's greater design, unwitting agents of a darkness that slowly destroys the soul. Doubt is perhaps the most powerful weapon in the devil's arsenal, and the narcissist wields it with terrifying precision. Unlike more overt forms of attack, doubt works quietly, almost imperceptibly, until it has eroded the very foundation of who you are. This is the true danger of narcissistic manipulation, its ability to plant seeds of doubt in your mind, sowing confusion and insecurity that undermine your confidence, abilities, and even your sense of existence. From the moment a narcissist enters your life, they begin the subtle work of destabilizing your sense of self. They may start by offering compliments that seem genuine and uplifting, making you feel like you are valued, important, and capable. But when the narcissist begins to withdraw their praise, or when their words turn into criticisms disguised as constructive feedback, something insidious happens. You begin to question yourself. What once felt certain now feels uncertain. You wonder if you really are as capable, as worthy as you once thought. The narcissist's manipulations often involve the strategic planting of seeds of doubt, particularly when you begin to show signs of independence or confidence. When you challenge them or question their behavior, they twist the narrative, making you believe that the problem lies within you. They'll make you think you misunderstood their intentions, or that you are overreacting, or worse, that you're the one causing harm. The more this happens, the more you begin to doubt your own perceptions of reality. You start to question whether your feelings are valid, or if you're simply imagining things. The narcissist casts enough doubt on your experiences and your emotional responses that, over time, you begin to trust them more than you trust yourself. This growing doubt is the poison that eats away at your sense of worth. You no longer feel confident in your abilities or decisions. You second-guess yourself, even in the simplest of situations. As the doubt deepens, the narcissist's hold over you strengthens. They know that if they can get you to doubt yourself, to lose confidence in your own judgment, you will become more reliant on them for validation. You will look to them for the answers you once had within yourself. Their approval becomes the only measure of your worth. What's truly destructive is that this process happens quietly. The narcissist doesn't need to scream or berate you for the damage to occur. Their power comes from the slow, steady erosion of your confidence, the gradual disintegration of your sense of self. They work in the shadows, whispering just enough doubt to make you question everything you once knew about yourself. And once the narcissist has successfully planted this seed of doubt, it grows into something much larger, leaving you vulnerable to further manipulation. You are no longer able to stand firm in your own truth, and in that weakness the narcissist thrives, knowing you will seek their validation, guidance, and control at every turn. This quiet destruction of the soul is the true weapon of the narcissist. It's not the dramatic, outward harm that causes the greatest damage, but the slow, insidious poisoning of your self-belief. Once doubt has taken root in your mind, it becomes almost impossible to reclaim the clarity and strength you once had unless you recognize it for what it is, a deliberate tool used to undermine your spirit and leave you susceptible to further control. Reclaiming your true self is the first and most vital step in breaking free from the narcissist's grip. The narcissist, as an instrument of darkness, seeks to keep you trapped in a cycle of self-loathing, self-doubt, and emotional instability. They want you to believe that your worth is entirely dependent on their validation, approval, and attention. The more they can convince you that you are nothing without them, the more control they exert over your life. However, the key to fighting back and escaping this toxic influence is to remember who you truly are, independent, whole, and powerful in your own right. The first part of reclaiming your true self is recognizing the narcissist for what they really are. They are not your savior, they are not the source of your worth, and they certainly are not capable of defining you. They are agents of manipulation, existing to serve their own ego at the cost of your well-being. Once you see the narcissist for what they truly are, their hold on you begins to weaken. The fog of illusion lifts, and you can begin to view their actions, behaviors, and words from a place of clarity, not confusion. The narcissist's power lies in their ability to make you forget your own identity. They warp your perception of yourself, convincing you that your value lies in how they see you, and that without their approval you are nothing. But you must understand that this is a lie. Your worth is not tied to their fleeting affection or their cruel manipulation. It exists independently of their influence. You were born whole, with intrinsic value, And your sense of self is not defined by how the narcissist treats you or how they choose to view you. Once you recognize this truth, the next step is to consciously separate your identity from the narcissist's toxic influence. Begin by identifying the ways in which they have warped your perception of yourself. Reflect on the person you were before they entered your life, the dreams you had, and the values that shaped you. It may be difficult at first to recall the parts of yourself that the narcissist has tried to erase or diminish, but they are still there, waiting to be remembered. Your identity is not lost. It is simply buried under layers of manipulation and self-doubt. Start to rebuild your sense of self by reconnecting with the things that bring you joy, fulfillment, and peace. Surround yourself with people who affirm your worth, not based on what you can do for them, but because they recognize your inherent value. Engage in activities that remind you of your talents and passions. Take time for self-care, not because you need external validation, but because you are worthy of love and respect, simply because you exist. As you reclaim your true self, it's essential to set boundaries with the narcissist. This means not allowing them to dictate your emotions or your decisions. You no longer seek their approval or seek to mold yourself into the version they demand. You are not their puppet, nor are you their reflection. You are you, and that is more than enough. You must stop feeding into their game. Stop allowing them to pull you back into the cycle of emotional instability. By refusing to engage in their manipulative tactics, you begin to strip away their power. Reclaiming your true self is an act of defiance against the narcissist's control, but it is also an act of self-love. It is a declaration that you deserve more than the toxicity and manipulation they bring. It is the recognition that you are not defined by their false narratives, and that your worth is immeasurable, independent of their approval. The moment you begin to embrace your true identity and separate yourself from their influence is the moment you take back your power. And with that power, you can begin to rebuild your life, free from their shadow. Resilience in self-awareness is the cornerstone of breaking free from the narcissist's toxic influence and the quiet darkness that seeks to erode your soul. The battle you are fighting is not about engaging the narcissist or confronting the devil directly. It's about something far deeper and more powerful, protecting and affirming the person you are, independent of their control. True strength comes not from opposing these forces head-on, but from cultivating a deep, unwavering awareness of your own worth and standing firm in your truth. Self-awareness is the key to resilience because it allows you to see beyond the distortions the narcissist creates. When you are self-aware, you are no longer easily manipulated by their praise or their criticism. You no longer seek their approval, nor are you easily shaken by their attempts to undermine your confidence. Instead, you begin to recognize your own value and trust your instincts. You know who you are, what you stand for, and what you deserve, which makes it much harder for the narcissist to sway you with their emotional games. The challenge is that the narcissist and the darkness they represent will continuously try to strip away your sense of self. They will question your decisions, distort your reality, and manipulate your emotions until you begin to doubt your own perceptions. The devil's greatest trick is not overt destruction, but the slow erosion of your inner strength, making you feel small, lost, and incapable. But the antidote to this is self-awareness. knowing who you are and refusing to be defined by anyone else's version of you. Surrounding yourself with light and truth is the natural extension of this self-awareness. When you are firm in your understanding of who you are, you can actively seek out environments and people who support and nurture your true self. This means removing yourself from toxic situations and relationships that continuously reinforce feelings of inadequacy or confusion. Seek out those who encourage your growth, who reflect your worth back to you, and who are aligned with your values. These relationships become a sanctuary, a place of healing and restoration where your sense of self can flourish. You also surround yourself with truth by reaffirming the reality of your existence and your worth. This may mean regularly reminding yourself of your strengths, accomplishments, and the qualities that make you unique. When doubt and insecurity creep in, you counter them with affirmations of your value, reminding yourself that you are worthy, capable, and complete, regardless of the narcissist's attempts to convince you otherwise. You must learn to trust your own voice, to believe in your own judgment, and to stand firm in your convictions, even when the world around you seeks to make you question everything. Resilience comes from consistency in this practice. It's not enough to merely recognize your worth once and expect the battle to end. It requires ongoing effort to maintain your awareness, to protect your boundaries, and to affirm your identity day in and day out. You must continue to stand firm against the forces that seek to break you down, to quiet the voices that seek to undermine your confidence, and to keep your focus on what is true and good within yourself. Ultimately, the strength that comes from self-awareness is transformative. When you are grounded in who you are, no external force, no narcissist, no devil can fully control you. You become resilient not because you fight with all your might, but because you stand unwavering in your own truth. You are not swayed by manipulation, nor do you seek validation, from those who would try to take your power. Instead, you stand firm in the light of your own existence, knowing that you are enough just as you are, and that, in itself, is the greatest act of resistance. As you stand firm in your truth, you realize that the battle you're fighting was never about the narcissist or the devil. It was always about you, about reclaiming the power that is inherently yours and refusing to allow anyone or anything to strip it away. The real victory is not in defeating them, but in remembering who you are, in embracing your own worth, and in choosing to live from a place of strength and self-awareness. The narcissist and the forces of darkness may continue to try to pull you into their web, to ensnare you with their lies and manipulation. They may even try to confuse you again, to make you doubt yourself or feel less than what you are. But now you are armed with the truth. You are not defined by their perception of you. You are not a puppet in their game. You are not small, nor weak, nor inferior. You are a whole, powerful being, capable of standing tall in the face of any adversity. The more you nurture your sense of self, the more you surround yourself with light, truth, and those who affirm your worth, the more you become untouchable to their poison. The narcissist whispers will lose their power. The devil's subtle temptations will no longer have a hold, because now you understand you are the one who defines your reality, and no one else. You are the one who holds the power to choose who you allow into your life and what influence you let take root in your heart. The true enemy is not outside of you, but within. Doubt, fear, and the false beliefs that have kept you from standing in your full power. When you confront those, when you reject the lies and stand in the fullness of who you are always meant to be, you begin to experience the peace, freedom, and confidence that come from within. Your journey is one of ongoing growth. The process of reclaiming yourself is not a one-time event, but a continuous unfolding of your true nature. There will be moments of struggle, but now you know that you have the strength to overcome them. You have the resilience to continue, no matter how many shadows try to creep into your life. And so the battle is won, not in grand, dramatic confrontations, but in the quiet, daily affirmation of your true self. You are not just surviving anymore, you are thriving. The narcissist and the forces of darkness may never fully disappear from the world, but you will no longer be vulnerable to their attacks. You are free, and with that freedom, you will continue to shine brightly, untouchable and unshaken. The fight may never fully end, but as long as you remember who you are, as long as you remain rooted in truth, you will always have the power to stand firm, to reclaim your peace, and to live a life that is truly your own. And in that truth, you find your ultimate victory.